New Hampshire is a state in the New England region of the northeastern United States. It borders Massachusetts to the south, Vermont to the west, Maine and the Gulf of Maine to the east, and the Canadian province of Quebec to the north. Of the 50 U.S. states, New Hampshire is the 8th smallest by land area and the 10th least populous, with a population of 1,377,529 residents as of the 2020 census. Concord is the state capital and Manchester is the most populous city. New Hampshire's motto, "Live Free or Die," reflects its role in the American Revolutionary War. Its nickname, the Granite State, refers to its extensive granite formations and quarries. It is well known nationwide for holding the first primary after the Iowa caucus in the U.S. presidential election cycle, and for its resulting influence on American electoral politics. New Hampshire was inhabited for thousands of years by Algonquin-speaking peoples such as the Abenaki. Europeans arrived in the early 17th century, with the English establishing some of the earliest non-indigenous settlements. The province of New Hampshire was established in 1629, named after the English county of Hampshire. Following mounting tensions between the British colonies and the Crown during the 1760s, New Hampshire saw one of the earliest overt acts of rebellion, with the seizing of Fort William and Mary from the British in 1774. In January 1776, it became the first of the British North American colonies to establish an independent government and state constitution. 6 months later, it signed the United States Declaration of Independence and contributed troops, ships, and supplies in the war against Britain. In June 1788, it was the 9th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, bringing that document into effect. Through the mid-19th century, New Hampshire was an active center of abolitionism and fielded close to 32,000 Union soldiers during the U.S. Civil War. After the war, the state saw rapid industrialization and population growth, becoming a center of textile manufacturing, shoemaking, and paper-making. The Antique Manufacturing Company in Manchester was at one time the largest cotton and textile plant in the world. The Merrimack and Connecticut rivers were lined with industrial mills, most of which employed workers from Canada and Europe. French Canadians formed the most significant influx of immigrants, and today roughly a quarter of all New Hampshire residents have French-American ancestry, second only to Maine. Reflecting a nationwide trend, New Hampshire's industrial sector declined after World War II. Since 1950, its economy diversified to include financial and professional services, real estate, education, transportation, and high-tech, with manufacturing still higher than the national average. Beginning in the 1950s, its population surged as major highways connected it to Greater Boston and led to more commuter towns. New Hampshire is among the wealthiest and most educated states. It is one of 9 states without an income tax and has no taxes on sales, capital gains, or inheritance, while relying heavily on local property taxes to fund education. Consequently, its state tax burden is among the lowest in the country. It ranks among the top 10 states in metrics such as governance, healthcare, socioeconomic opportunity, and fiscal stability. New Hampshire is one of the least religious states and known for its libertarian-leaning political culture. It was until recently a swing state in presidential elections. With its mountainous and heavily forested terrain, New Hampshire has a growing tourism sector centered on outdoor recreation. It has some of the highest ski mountains on the East Coast and is a major destination for winter sports. Mount Monadnock is among the most climbed mountains in the U.S. Other activities include observing the fall foliage, summer cottages along many lakes and the seacoast, motorsports at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, and Motorcycle Week, a popular motorcycle rally held in Weirs Beach in Laconia. The White Mountain National Forest includes most of the Appalachian Trail between Vermont and Maine, and has the Mount Washington Auto Road, where visitors may drive to the top of 6,288-foot and 1,917-meter Mount Washington. The purple finch is a bird in the finch family, Fringillidae. It breeds in the northern United States, southern Canada, and the west coast of North America. Lilacs are flowering shrubs and trees in the olive family, native to Europe and Asia. They are known for their fragrant clusters of pink, purple, or white flowers. Lilacs are also part of the cultural and medicinal history of many traditional cultures. Lilacs are relatively low maintenance and can thrive in various soil types. They prefer sunny to partially shaded areas and well-drained soil. Pruning in late winter or early spring can help promote growth and blooms. Bichilapa pyrifida is a short-lived species of birch native to northern North America. Paper birch is named after the tree's thin white bark, which often peels in paper-like layers from the trunk. There are 10 counties in the U.S. state of New Hampshire. 5 5 of the counties were created in 1769, when New Hampshire was still an English colony and not a state, during the first subdivision of the state into counties. The last counties created were Belknap County and Carroll County in 1840. The majority of New Hampshire's counties were named for prominent British or American people or geographic locations and features. Only one county's name originates in a Native American language, Cass County, named for an Algonquin word meaning small pines. The counties tend to be smaller in land area towards the southern end of the state, where New Hampshire population is concentrated, and larger in land area in the less populous north. The FIPS county code is the 5-digit Federal Information Processing Standard FIPS code, which uniquely identifies counties and county equivalents in the United States. The 3-digit number is unique to each individual county within a state, but to be unique within the entire United States, it must be prefixed by the state code. This means that, for example, while Belknap County, New Hampshire is 001, Addison County, Vermont, and Alachua County, Florida are also 001. To uniquely identify Belknap County, New Hampshire, one must use the state code of 33 plus the county code of 001. Therefore, the unique nationwide identifier for Belknap County, New Hampshire is 33001. The links in the column FIPS county code are to the Census Bureau info page for that county.
Top 10 largest cities in New Hampshire.
Number 10, Hudson, New Hampshire. Hudson is a town in Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, United States. It is located along the Massachusetts state line. The population was 25,394 at the 2020 census. It is the 10th largest municipality, town, or city in the state by population. The urban center of town, where 7,534 people resided as of the 2020 census, is defined as the Hudson Census Designated Place CDP and is located at the junctions of New Hampshire routes 102, 111, and 3A, directly across the Merrimack River from the city of Nashua. Number 9, Londonderry, New Hampshire. Londonderry is a town in western Rockingham County, New Hampshire, United States. It sits between Manchester and Derry, the largest and 4th largest communities in the state. The population was 25,826 at the 2020 census. Londonderry is known for its apple orchards and is home to the headquarters of Stonyfield Farm and part of Manchester and Boston Regional Airport. The more densely settled portion of town, where 11,645 people lived at the 2020 census, is defined as the Londonderry Census Designated Place CDP and roughly occupies the southeastern and southern parts of town, around New Hampshire Route 102. Number 8, Merrimack, New Hampshire. Merrimack is a town in Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, United States. The population was 26,632 as of the 2020 census. There are 4 villages in the town: Merrimack Village, formerly known as Souhagen Village, Thornton's Ferry, Reed's Ferry, and South Merrimack. Number 7, Salem, New Hampshire. Salem is a town in Rockingham County, New Hampshire, United States. The population was 30,089 at the 2020 census and an estimated 30,647 in 2022. Salem is a northern suburb of Boston located on Interstate 93. As the first town along I-93 northbound in New Hampshire, which lacks any state sales tax, Salem has grown into a regional commercial hub for the northern section of Greater Boston, anchored by the mall at Rockingham Park and Tuscan Village. Other major sites include Canopy Lake Park, a large amusement park, and America's Stonehenge, a stone structure of disputed origins. It is the former home of Rockingham Park, a horse racetrack. The Sununu political family hails from Salem, including former New Hampshire Governor and White House Chief of Staff John H. Sununu, and his sons John E. Sununu, a former U.S. Senator, and Chris Sununu, current New Hampshire Governor. Salem was named on the Money website's Best Places to Live 2020 list. Number 6, Dover, New Hampshire. Dover is a city in Strafford County, New Hampshire, United States. The population was 32,741 at the 2020 census, making it the most populous city in the New Hampshire Seacoast region and the 5th most populous city in New Hampshire. It is the county seat of Strafford County and home to Wentworth Douglas Hospital, the Woodman Institute Museum, and the Children's Museum of New Hampshire. Number 5, Rochester, New Hampshire. Rochester is a city in Strafford County, New Hampshire, United States. The population was 32,492 at the 2020 census, making it the 6th most populous city in New Hampshire. In addition to the downtown area, the city contains the villages of East Rochester, Gonick, and North Rochester. Rochester is home to Skyhaven Airport and part of Baxter Lake. Rochester was one of New Hampshire's fastest growing cities between 2010 and 2020. Number 4, Derry, New Hampshire. Derry is a town in Rockingham County, New Hampshire, United States. The The population was 34,317 at the 2020 census. Although it is a town and not a city, Derry is the most populous community in Rockingham County and the fourth most populous in the state. The town's nickname, Spacetown, derives from the fact that Derry is the birthplace of Alan Shepard, the first astronaut from the United States in space. Derry was also for a time the home of the poet Robert Frost and his family. The Derry census-designated place, with a 2020 population of 22,879, occupies the central part of the town, extending from Derry's downtown in the west to the town of Hampstead in the east. The town also includes the village of East Derry. Number 3. Concord, New Hampshire. Concord is the capital city of the U.S. state of New Hampshire and the seat of Merrimack County. As of the 2020 census, the population was 43,976, making it the third most populous city in New Hampshire after Manchester and Nashua. The area was first settled by Europeans in 1659. On January 17, 1725, the province of Massachusetts Bay granted the Concord area as the plantation of Pennacook, and it was incorporated on February 9, 1734 as the town of Rumford. Governor Benning Wentworth gave the city its current name in 1765 following a boundary dispute with the neighboring town of Bow. The name was meant to signify the new harmony between the two towns. In 1808, Concord was named the official seat of state government, and the State House was completed in 1819. It remains the oldest U.S. state capital wherein the legislature meets in its original chambers. Concord is entirely within the Merrimack River watershed, and the city is centered on the river. The Merrimack runs from northwest to southeast through the city. The city's eastern boundary is formed by the Sucook River, which separates Concord from the town of Pembroke. The Turkey River passes through the southwestern quarter of the city. The city consists of its downtown, including the North End and South End neighborhoods, along with the four villages of Penacook, Concord Heights, East Concord, and West Concord. Penacook sits along the Contoocook River just before it flows into the Merrimack. As of 2020, the top employer in the city was the state of New Hampshire, and the largest private employer was Concord Hospital. Concord is home to the University of New Hampshire School of Law, New Hampshire's only law school, St. Paul's School, a private preparatory school, and HTI, a two-year community college, the New Hampshire Police Academy, and the New Hampshire Fire Academy. Concord's Old North Cemetery is the final resting place of Franklin Pierce, 14th President of the United States. Interstate 89 and Interstate 93 are the two main interstate highways serving the city, and general aviation access is via Concord Municipal Airport. The nearest airport with commercial air service is Manchester and Boston Regional Airport, 23 miles and 37 kilometers to the south. There has been no passenger rail service to Concord since 1981. Historically, the Boston and Maine Railroad served the city. Number 2. Nashua, New Hampshire. Nashua is a city in southern New Hampshire, United States. As of the 2020 census, it had a population of 91,322, the second largest in northern New England after nearby Manchester. It is one of two county seats of New Hampshire's most populous county, Hillsborough, the other being Manchester. Built around the now-departed textile industry, in recent decades Nashua's economy has shifted to the financial services, high-tech, and defense industries as part of the economic recovery that started in the 1980s in the greater Boston region. Major private employers in the city include Nashua Corporation, BAE Systems, and Teradyne. The city also hosts two major regional medical centers, Southern New Hampshire Medical Center and St. Joseph Hospital. The South Nashua Commercial District is a major regional shopping destination, lying directly on the Massachusetts border and taking advantage of New Hampshire's lack of sales tax. It is anchored by the Pheasant Lane Mall and numerous smaller shopping centers. It is one of several U.S. cities nicknamed Gate City, which references a reputation for being a travel gateway, in this case between the Boston region and New Hampshire. A number of civic groups and institutions have adopted the title. Number 1. Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester is the most populous city in the U.S. state of New Hampshire and the 10th most populous in New England. As of the 2020 census, it had a population of 115,644. Manchester is, along with the city of Nashua, one of two seats of New Hampshire's most populous county, Hillsborough County. Manchester lies near the northern end of the northeast megalopolis and straddles the banks of the Merrimack River. It was first named by the merchant and inventor Samuel Blodgett, eponym of Samuel Blodgett Park and Blodgett Street in the city's north end. His vision was to create a great industrial center similar to that of the original Manchester in England, which was the world's first industrialized city. During the Industrial Revolution, Manchester was a major industrial and economic hub for New England, with the Amesgate Manufacturing Company being the largest cotton and textile plant in the world. After World War II, many textile manufacturing jobs left Manchester, but new industries and companies were introduced to the city, such as DEKA.